Well, this is coming from the Minister of Trade and Investment, Mr. Olusegun Aganga, who told State House correspondents after the Federal Executive Council meeting today that there was nothing like 70% import duties on used cars. Now, he, however, insisted that the federal government is not going back on the decision to implement the automotive policy, which seeks to discourage the importation of used vehicles into the country. Well, structures alleged to be encroaching into the royal burial ground in Ifiokpo community, Warri South local government area of Delta State have been demolished by the state government. Residents affected by the exercise are crying foul over the act, alleging they acquired their certificates of occupancy legally. On the spot, the state government is challenging these claims, calling on those with proper documentation to come forward. Our community report tonight looks into issues affecting the community and the 500-year-old cemetery.
Etisola, now you're talking.
As the name suggests, Royal Cemetery in Warri, Delta State is considered sacred due to the fact that monarchs in the kingdom have been buried here for over 500 years.
The whole land in that area, including where it's now called Ifie, whether it is Ifiekporo or Ajeta or Ikere, all of that is Ijala. That's where Ginoa the First settled in when he arrived there in 1480 AD. And he settled there. He passed on there, and then he was buried there. Since then, the royal cemetery had been there.
But in recent times, it appears that history has been forgotten. This is because structures have been erected and encroaching on the land, an act strongly kicked against by the royal clan.
People have encroached on it and built houses on them. They were warned, but they would not listen. In fact, they became faceless, denying who sold the land to them and who owns it. Attempts were made for several years now. They would not listen, and they would even go there, and before you know it, another house will spring up. That is the area where we are interested in. It should be left alone. It should not be encroached on. So the houses that are there within that surveyed area, as authorized by His Majesty, they must go down.
The people in the community, those that are even selling the land, they know that that place is government land.
This complaint has prompted the state government to act. Demolishing structures are judged to be illegal and crossing the boundary.
If the government decides to pull down illegal structures that are encroaching on government property or designated areas, or culturally designated areas, it is the prerogative of government to do that. There is nowhere in the world where illegal structures are brought down, or when squatters are even driven out of where they are squatting illegally, that they do not complain.
Nobody is having a CFO. And we were told and made understand with evidence from Minister of Lands and Survey that when they were even developing those lands, they were asked to stop. So if you go to Minister of Lands and Survey, you will be given the evidence.
We have the gazettes here. We can show you the gazettes. We have the acquisition and the gazettes. The gazettes are here. Government gazettes. When it was Bender State, not even Delta State. So those boys in Ifie, those little boys, you find that in Ifie, the elderly people, they were not involved in the sale of this government land. They were not involved. The elderly one. It's these small boys in the community. Small boys, 20 years, 25 years, signing documents of land to people. I don't think government does not have any explanation to anybody.
The move has sparked an outcry from those affected by the exercise, claiming they have done no wrong.
If government said they own this land, we own this land. The land is in contention. The land we are talking about now is in contention because we own this land. And the rightful people who take possession of the land is we, because we are the people that built in here. And for government to say they come unlawfully and show rascality in such a way, in such an unlawful manner, to demolish our house is unacceptable. And we are going to challenge the government to please come back and build our house. They may have made mistakes. Let us accept the shameful mistake they have made and tell the public that they have made mistake and bring back our house to us, because we cannot continue to be on the street.
However this case is decided, one thing remains true. History is an important part of culture, and when it is distorted in any form, time will always remember.
Etisola, now you talk.
First Bank.
Welcome to Business News. The Central Bank of Nigeria has released new directives on the issuance of credit facilities by financial institutions. This, according to the Apex Bank, is to avoid a build-up of non-performing loans which could negatively impact liquidity in the financial sector and ultimately hamper its stability. The 8-point directive, which took effect from July 1st, include that no institution shall, without the prior written approval of the CBN, grant a facility to a potential borrower who is in default of any existing facility to the tune of 500 million naira and above in the case of deposit money banks, and 250 million naira and above in the case of development banks and banks in liquidation. No institution shall also, except with the prior written approval of the CBN, grant a facility to any potential borrower who has a delinquent facility of any amount whatsoever, which has been taken over by the Asset Management Company of Nigeria, AMCON. Also, all institutions shall ensure that all returns and credit facilities granted together with their performance status are rendered on the credit risk management system and reported to 2 credit bureaus. All institutions are also reminded that it is mandatory to perform credit checks on a potential borrower on CRMS and from at least 2 credit bureaus. Meanwhile, the CBN says the prohibition threshold may be reviewed by the CBN from time to time with the aim of inculcating responsible and appropriate credit culture in borrowers. The Ministry of Finance has disclosed in a statement that only marketers whose claims have been cleared after they have gone through the verification processes have been paid. This is to guard against the repeated experience of wrong and irregular payments. The latest batch of payments is totaled 445 billion naira and is currently on the office of the Accountant General of the Federation. The letters of indemnity are requirements for payment, as banks which financed imports by some marketers had written to the OAGF through their lawyers to complain that their clients are making interest payments through other banks contrary to the terms of agreements reached. The statement states that the affected banks are insisting that the interest payments be made through to them since they granted the facilities that attracted the interest. In a bid to reduce crime rate and youth unemployment in Imo State, the government is attracting investment opportunities into the state. Governor Rochas Okorocha believes that with this, employment opportunities will increase. The governor led a business delegation on a 4-day trip to Turkey for this purpose. Now, transactions at the Nigerian Stock Exchange finished in the red, closing flat at midweek 42,609.75 points. However, First Bank of Nigeria Holding recorded the highest units of shares of 72.5 million, followed by FCMB and Transcorp. Let's get details of trading from Bolaji Akinwale.
Hello and welcome to the Stock Market Report. Midweek transactions at the local bourse was lull. The All-Share Index was flat, closing at 42,609.75. On the price appreciators list, Seplat led with 20 naira 50 kobo ahead of 40 Oil and GlaxoSmithKline, which added 7 naira and 4 naira each. Meanwhile, Julius Berger topped the decliners table, dropping 7 naira 45 kobo. Total followed with 6 naira 60 kobo and Guinness with 5 naira 98 kobo. On the volume chart, FBN Holdings recorded the highest units of shares of 72.5 million. Others include FCMB and Transcorp. At the end of the session, the total transactions stood at 388.9 million shares at the value of 4.477 billion naira and traded in 5,488 deals. That's it on the stock market report. I am Bolaji Akinwale.
And that's it on Business News. Tonight, Suleiman continues with the rest of the news at 10.
First Bank.
Still ahead on the news at 10, defending champion Andy Murray dethroned at Wimbledon. That's on Sports News. Stay with us.